Cartel Sicario describes the things that he used to do for the cartel. Let's get into it.
So after you guys get all these towns in the middle of Mexico, Guerrero, wherever it is in the South, Chiapas, wherever, you've got that pipeline. Then the accountants come in and pay off the people at the checkpoints.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. So, and you were part of this. Were you part of this kind of solidification for the Beltran Leyvas?
I was working as a Sicario.
Okay. But at this time when he had you on lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Things were a lot different back then.
Yeah.
Because the Zetas were helping him, were coming in from Chiapas. And that's why everything broke down, because Sinaloa didn't want any deals with the Zetas, but Alfredo Beltran was a good friend of the Zetas.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But the other guys didn't want to deal with them at all?
They felt like he was going to associate with them to try to take out his counterparts in Badiraguato.
Chapo and Mayo.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't, because then we saw what the Zetas did. They're
Zetas
insane.
Are brutal.
Was torture common among you guys? Like, did you ever have to torture people?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Wow.
You
trying to give up information.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about interrogation and information.
Yeah. It's all about intel.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
Even in prison. When I fell in prison, I was still working for the organization.
Okay.
And in prison, the cartel has the last say in prison, right? A lot of people don't understand that prisons in Mexico are basically a line of information. Let's say you're working for a rival and you get caught with a couple bags of crystal meth, cocaine, marijuana. You go into the jail, to the prison. You might not go into the main yard, but the cartel has so much power that guys inside, like me, would come through those gates. The correctional officers will open those gates, get you inside where that person was with a smartphone, interrogate him, beat the shit out of him, take the information out, and pass the information out to the people that are outside.
Right.
So it was basically, the cartel would supply drugs to the prison.
Yeah.
The prison would supply back information and obviously profit of those drugs.
Right.
Prisons in Mexico, they would sell anything between 50 kilos to 100 kilos of marijuana a month.
Wow. Just inside the prison.
Just inside the prison.
Yeah.
It's crazy how Mexican prisons, like, I've never seen an actual documentary of a real Mexican prison. I've seen several of El Hongo up in Baja California. Ain't nothing compared to the South and to the violence that these prisons can create.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus information. You get information about what opposition is operating when they go to jail, and they've got,
because you know that
their hooks in the people working in the jail and the inmates in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes the correctional officers will try to gain control of the prison and try to control it themselves, and they get murdered outside of the prison. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you take your fall, the murder?
I knew eventually it was gonna catch up to me. I knew that I only had two ways: just getting killed in the streets or ending up in prison. It went actually pretty well. I can't complain. Prison for me was.
You were in Morelos?
In prison?
Yeah.
Yeah, Morelos and Estado de Mexico.
Okay, so where did you catch the body?
In Morelos.
In Morelos?
Yeah.
And getting caught, it seems pretty hard to get convicted of murder in Mexico, especially when you're working for an organization. We know this because we were just in Tijuana, and they were like, in Culiacan, it's a statistic.
Yeah.
99% unsolved homicides. So how do you get caught for doing a body when you're part of this massive cartel?
So the government needs to present work.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Stats.
The government needs to present that they have detained someone for whatever is going on. Why? Because obviously the government needs the local government, the state government needs funds from the federal government. But in order to get their funds, they need to present work. So what do? They get a stupid individual that basically he got caught with several stuff, and they'll give him the option. You know what? You help us testify against these certain individuals, and we'll let you go. So he's a star witness. He'll testify in 5, 10, 15 cases. People that he never has met, and just basically reads something that is
The written statement that's given to him by the prosecutor.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's all in the Mexican judicial system. All that they need to convict you of the murder is a testimony. That's all. No scientific proof, no forensic evidence, nothing but just a testimony.
And one person's testimony will do it?
One testimony.
Wow.
The amount of individuals that are in prison with these testimonies that are star witnesses, we call them, because they have been in every case and they've said the same for every person.
Wow. So you think there's a lot of actually innocent people sitting in Mexican prisons?
Definitely, brother.
Wow.
Definitely.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you know, it has been adjudicated. Were you actually guilty? Did you commit the murder?
You can say I did. I wasn't there, but I gave the order to pick up the individual because he had it was personal, and I wanted to actually be there to take this individual for myself. But this individual, I think he already smelled that something bad was going to happen, and he tried to run for it, and the guys killed him.
Okay.
So
did the trigger man go down too?
The trigger man was the witness.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
How did he become the witness?
Bro, the story is so crazy that you're going to probably think that it's hard to tell, but I'm going to tell it to you. So I'm working.
The unbelievable in Mexico is to be believed.
I'm working for this different group in Morelos, right? I take these two brothers, I take them in because they're supposedly already experienced gunmen. I take them in, we do some jobs, and they demonstrate that they can handle themselves and that they're doing their job. I get a phone call while we're sitting down in our safe house from their boss and my boss. They're like, "Do you have these two individuals there?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? What's going on?" Cut them up into pieces. No. I don't do that to people that are working with me. I'm not going to do that. How can I? For me, it was morally incorrect. If you've risked your life to work with me and you've shown me loyalty, and for someone else to call me and give me a stupid reason just to cut you up and use your body as a message for rivals, like, come on. So I basically put in my hands in the fire for them to save their lives. Explain to them, you know what? They called me right now and they wanted me to kill you guys, but I put my hands in the fire for you guys. They were accusing them of extortioning. I don't know if they did or they didn't, but at
not a great reason. I
ended up saving their lives, right?
Wow.
When we get caught, one of those brothers, he gets convinced by the prosecutors to testify against me. And it was because of him that I'm out. You see? He testified. Yeah, they me vincularon. They attached the body to me, right? Because of him. I saved his life. He ended up saving my life on the long run.
Okay.
Because he was a star witness. In prison, we had a riot, and I got transferred to a state prison far away from Morelos to a state prison. I got more power. I had an opportunity to get more people running the streets on my behalf. And I prolonged my stay. So normally in Mexico, you get sentenced from 8 to a year and a half. I had already been 3 years in prison and I hadn't been sentenced because of the riots that had happened, the situation that was going on with the change of government.
What year did you go down? What year was that?
It was when
first got arrested.
Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
Yeah. Guy that just left the presidency.
Got into power.
It's 2014, maybe.
He was 6 years, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is after the fall of Chapo. This is 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was during that. I had already been there for a while, and when this president won, So in the long run, I got to the point where I had people that were on the streets that they knew where his brother was. So I get someone to get him and to get him on the phone, and I told him, you guys remember what I did for you guys? Now it's time for you guys to repay the favor. Make sure that your brother doesn't show up to the final court dates.
Hearing.
Yeah, court hearings.
Court appearance, right?
And-
Trial. So you
yeah,
took it to trial.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took, because they offered me. They're like, if you accept your blame, we're gonna give you 13 years.
Right. How many of those would you do? Like, is there any good time? Can you get
No.
out early?
Mexico is one you do
Day for
after
day,
year.
we
Yeah,
say.
day for year.
Okay.
So I spoke to them and they're like, you know what, we owe you one. My brothers don't want to show up. And I remember I was on the phone with him and I was like, look, I'm being nice, bro. You know that I've saved your guys' life, but if he shows up, I'm killing all your family. I was mentally trying to get on his case because they knew that I've always been a you could say a good guy. I don't consider myself as an evil person, but if I have to get my hands dirty, I'm gonna get them dirty. So I made sure to intimidate him to the point where he's like, you know what, let me speak to my brother. They got back to me. They're like, no one's gonna show up.
So then they dropped the case?
I was acquitted from murder.
Oh, so you weren't actually convicted of murder.
No.
You were just in there sitting.
I was waiting for the sentence.
3 years
For 3
in
years.
a real, and in Mexico, you don't go to the county jail.
No.
They put you in prison with the convicted people.
Yeah,
and you're doing a bid like you're already sentenced,
Yep.
which is crazy. And even though technically you're
I was
innocent.
making more money from the inside of prison than from the outside.
Okay, so tell us about that. This is bananas.
In prison, you got everything. In Mexican prison, you got smart.
So that's actually insane, bro. So his boss called him and told him to cut them boys up in pieces, and he literally tried to help them by not killing them. And the dude gonna snitch. That's crazy. That's why you gotta watch out for these folks, man, and stay to yourself. That's the perfect example. You put your life at risk to help someone, and they stab you in the back. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna catch you on the next video. I'm gone.